Hi, this is River, and welcome to part 2 of a 3-part series of me redesigning Aziraphale's bookshop sign as a pride flag needlepoint piece. I'm starting off with a little cup of herbal tea, got some spiced cinnamon yumminess going on with a little creamer in it. You are welcome to join me if you are so inclined to take tea. Painting needlepoint is a cozy activity for me, so tea often happens when I'm doing it. And I'm starting off here actually by preparing my materials. I'm making a wet palette, which is just a way to help preserve the paints while I'm painting. I use acrylic paint. I'm just painting for myself, so I'm using just like cheap craft store paints. And I find that they dry out if I just put them like on a plastic palette. And I picked up this technique for a wet palette during my very short-lived hobby of painting D&D minis. I painted a sum total of 1, but I watched a lot of videos on how to do it beforehand and discovered this technique in the wilds of YouTube, where you wet down a paper towel and then press some printer paper on top of it, just to get it damp, not sopping wet, so that when you put your paint on the printer paper that has got a little moisture from the paper towel, they don't dry out. And it's not so much that they like leak and run and are unusable. You can buy palettes that do this for you, but I find making my own works just fine, and it's kind of fun. And you'll see here I'll get my paints lined up in a second. I actually start by prepping my canvas with a matte medium, which traditional artists will sometimes do on their canvases. It just helps the paint adhere, because needlepoint canvas is cotton and it's starched. It already has starching medium on it, and this matte medium just kind of helps the paint play nice with what's going on there and not soak up into the fabric. And when I say canvas, this is what I mean. This little strip right here, needlepoint canvas, is open weave. It has very wide holes in it, and the intersections are very clear where the threads, I love that little zoop zoop sound, where the threads intersect. And I'll be doing a technique called stitch painting, where you paint each individual little intersection, kind of like pixel art, is what I'm going to be doing. And this sort of awkward shot is actually me putting the camera on this light. It's actually, I'm balancing the little tiny tripod into the handle of the light so that y'all can actually see down through the magnifying glass and see the view that I'm seeing, which I thought you might like, instead of trying to kind of see from the side what I was doing. And I'm gonna start out here just by finding the center of the canvas, and I've sped up the footage, otherwise we'll be here for a very, very long time. So I'm just measuring to find the center, and then that will help me define the edges of the bookmark, so that when I'm painting I'll know how to do that. And I have already put medium on this canvas. I cannot find the footage of me doing that. Could be it was deleted by accident, could be I didn't even hit the record button, but either way, this has it. The canvas is now prepped and ready for paint. So what I'm doing here is using my phone that I have named Old Faithful, because as you can see, she has been through it. still with us. And we're grateful for that. I've pulled up the first YouTube video that I did because it was an easy way to access the chart, and I've just got it paused so that I can reference it when plotting out where I'm gonna put the letters. And this is actually the second time I've recorded this. The first time I went in and didn't pencil in the letters, I just went straight in with paint, and that did not turn out great. I made a lot of mistakes. Fortunately, I guess, my laptop decided that it didn't like what I was doing and stopped recording in the middle of it and corrupted that file, which forced me to redo things and actually show you how to do it without making a ton of mistakes. So, thank you, laptop. You can see here that I'm using a little brush. It's a nail art brush, just a little cheapy one that I have cut down. I've sheared off a lot of the bristles so that comes to a teeny tiny little point that allows me to get each individual stitch here. Here we go with the chevron of the Progress pride flag. I chose this one partly for aesthetics. I like the way that it looks in this long rectangular form. It gives a little visual interest. Also, I like to draw attention to the issues that it is also drawing attention to. The Progress Pride flag was designed not that long ago by an artist named Daniel Quasar, who was building off the traditional one designed by Baker back in '78, and some other ones that had been created since then to draw attention to issues faced by people within the queer community who have to deal with things like racism and transphobia and stigmatism due to a positive HIV status. So those colors there in that little chevron are drawing attention to those issues. And then the actual shape of the chevron, that arrow pointing forward, is the progress part of it. You know, they were saying, hey, we still got to make progress on these things. The stuff is still happening. We need to do something about it. So I thought that was a commendable addition to that traditional pride flag. I won't turn this into a history lesson, but the history of the pride flag is really interesting. I suggest doing a little Googling on it if you don't know it. And in fact, I'll link a podcast that I listened to where Daniel talked about a little bit about the history of the pride flag, their design process, and what it's like to be a commercial artist, creating things in the queer space and how they have dealt with the nitty-gritty of that sort of stuff. I thought it was an interesting podcast. You may have noticed here that I've been switching brushes. I have a slightly larger one that I have not cut down that I could easily use on the red and the orange stripe. And then I had to go back to the little one where I can do individual stitches for in between the letters. I thought I could, when we get to the blue here, I thought I could switch back. Oh, and I just realized right there that I had made a mistake and I had to fix it, which is fairly easy enough to do when painting needlepoint. You can usually see where a mistake was fixed, but it was easy enough. And then here we go, back with the blue, which I'll lay down with the larger brush and touch up with the smaller one. And then at the very end, we'll get into the purple. Indigo? Violet? I should know which one that is. I think it's violet. Here's the final result. You can see the little close-up there. I think I did okay. A little sloppy around the edges, but not too bad. It's been a fun creative process so far. Next video, I'm going to try to figure out how to actually film myself stitching it so that you can really see how all that works. Kind of a little primer in the basics of needlepoint. Oh, and a quick shout out for the music. This is by an artist called Innertune that I found on pixabay.com. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. See you around the internet.